Hey everyone, welcome back to this series that I'm hosting, The Black Girl Encourage Her. Yes, this is encouragement for everyone, but we are coming from a Black girl's perspective. I am your host, Sheniqua Inspires, and I can't wait for you to get today's encouragement. It's going to bless you. When I say it's going to bless you, I'm telling you in advance, it's going to bless you. I'm bringing forth a powerhouse on this day. And I know her personally, right? Everybody who's coming on the stage are people who I know, who I love. And I want you all to meet my business bestie, Dr. Vernita Glenn White. Yes. Hey, sis.
Hi,
How
BB.
are you?
Fantastic.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So listen, I know you personally, right? Because we are business besties. And for those of you who don't know what a business bestie is, it's someone that is walking the journey with you. Somebody who maybe not the same thing, but very, very similar. And we are going through the trenches together as we are building, growing, and scaling our business and bringing our message to millions. So we have partnered together as business besties, and it helps us to stay inspired. It helps us to stay encouraged. We bounce ideas off of one another. And this is how I have been able to make the magic happen. I know some people have said, girl, I see you out here in these streets. You are doing the thing. How are you doing all of this? Well, it's because I have a business bestie that helps to keep me inspired, helps to keep me motivated, and most importantly, keeps me encouraged. So I wanted to make certain that I brought her on so that you all will be able to get some of this encouragement that I receive on a regular basis. So we like to call her Dr. V. That's what we like to call her. So Dr. V, introduce yourself to everyone and let them know about what it is that you do.
Well, thank you so much. That was so much fun. And I want to let everyone know it does go both ways. So while I pour into Sheniqua, she also pours into me. So it's not a one-sided
Yes.
relationship here because it does go both ways.
Mutually beneficial. We
It
stated that from the beginning. Mutually beneficial.
Yes. So yes, you want a business bestie who, or I mean, you just want someone in your circle who isn't afraid to shrink, who doesn't shrink when when you're blowing up, and then you don't want to be intimidated by them either. You want
Exactly.
to be celebrated. So I want to put that out there. So who am I? I am someone who has 5 degrees. I love education. I have 5 degrees. They range from mathematics to leadership. I have a PhD in mathematics education in the STEM field back in the day, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. I did that from the K-12 level all the way up through the university level. And the reason why I start off with that is because I was always hyped up as being a triple threat. You know, young Black female in the STEM field, she can earn her golden ticket pretty much. And that's how I went through life. And I enjoyed the perks of that. You know, there were just some perks with being like one of the few that look like me in the classrooms, or I'm not afraid to say that my skin color and my gender got me into rooms, and the title itself got me into a lot of places where I ate with presidents of universities, presidents of national organizations. I've been able to speak all across the country, literally, and I've done some international travels as well, like going to Singapore, Dominican Republic, all on the university's dime.
Mm.
And yes, and the reason why I'm saying all of that is because everything looks so good on paper. If you read my curriculum vitae, some of y'all may know it as a resume, but in higher ed, we call it a CV. And you will see all of these accolades. And I was
Mhm.
able to accomplish all of those while being like a functionally depressed. I'm a doctor, but I'm
Mm.
not that kind of doctor, right?
Yes.
But I didn't realize the impact of depression, and that depression came from having my mom and my grandfather pass away 3 weeks
Mm.
apart back in 2012. so I started my doctoral program in the August of 2012. My grandfather, we just celebrated the 11th death anniversary on January 25th, and then my mom's is coming up February 16th. So I dealt with all of that in January of 2012, and I rushed through the grief process so I can start school August of 2012. And I was able to compartmentalize a lot. And it wasn't until after graduation, after really understanding what had happened, that I fell into this dark, dark hole. And
Mm-hmm.
I led with all of my accolades is because it's not like I went into a shell and didn't come out the house or stayed in the dark corner. I knew how to perform. I knew
Mm-hmm.
how to say, okay, this is happening. Let me put this in the box. And I still needed to show up and got it to get a job. I with all of that, I was doing all of those things. And it
Wow.
wasn't until right. And it wasn't until it got really, really bad. And I'm like time lapsing because some other things happened as well to get me to this point where being a university professor, most people say that's a dream job. And I just watched Devil Wears Prada. I love that
Ah,
movie,
uh-huh.
and everyone would tell Andy a million girls would kill for that job. And that's kind of what people would say about being a college professor.
Yeah.
Like a million people would kill for that job because it is a
It's a
cushion.
coveted position.
It's a
Yeah.
and I was on tenure track, which is also important for those of you who don't know. Like inside the ivory tower, we love status and titles. So
Yes.
being on the tenure track, so I'm listening to all of this goes back into, being a triple threat. You should be proud that you're there. And with all of that going on, it doesn't matter because you young black female, you can have the world is your oyster kind of thing. And it didn't feel that way. And so when I got fired from being in the covenant position, that's when I had to reassess and readjust and
Right.
reinvent. And I said all of that is like I thought the dip was okay. My mother and my grandfather passed. I dealt with grief. I thought, let me come out the hole, let me go do this career thing, and then it dropped again.
Hmm.
And I was like, God, this isn't fair. I've already went through my season. And
Give
like
it to somebody
I
else.
know. So I was like, okay, I had a valley moment. I climbed my way back at the top, and God was like, not yet. And
Yeah.
so I wanted to share all of that to say, it's like you can be a public success and feel like a private failure.
Mhm.
And it goes a little deeper than that because people in your private life, they're looking like, well, what's the problem?
Yeah.
You're not really like, are you really like depressed or going through things because you keep accomplishing things? And I believe that in this season, well, I'll say last year and the year before, during our global pandemic, that's when God was like, I need you to reevaluate some things and really look at um, how you were setting your life up as a triple threat. He was like, you're not a threat to anyone. Your
Mm.
gender is not a threat. Your skin tone is not a threat. And the gifts that I've given you, whether you learned it or what I put into you, is not a threat. So I've been going through that reinvention of myself. And the bottom line is encouraging women with all of that success is that reinvention is a scary thing, but it's a necessary thing.
I love it. I love it. And it's sad that in today's society that we get caught up in these stigmas,
Mhm.
where we feel like we're a threat. Like you said, like no, we're not a threat to anyone. And if you're viewing, a successful black woman as a threat, the problem is not with that successful black woman. That problem actually lies within. And so they need to do some mirror work. They need to get themselves together because you should never walk around that thinking that someone else is a threat to your livelihood, to your success. And I've experienced that firsthand. Working in a position, and I remember when I interviewed for the position, I interviewed in red heels. Yeah, yeah, I know that's outside of the norm. the black and navy blue or the tan that they tell us traditionally to wear. But I just felt it in my spirit that I wanted to show up with my red heels on, and that I did. And I got the job. So if
Right.
I interviewed in red heels,
You knew
you
what you were gonna
accepted me.
get.
You knew this.
You knew what you
You knew that
exactly.
I was an outside the box
Mhm.
thinker. And then when I'm in there, now you want to start acting all intimidated and acting all like I'm the problem. And that's what society is good at doing, making everyone else the problem. But um, I'm going to proclaim it for myself as a confident, as a bold, as a professional Black woman who is comfortable in her gifts and her talents. I'm not a threat to nobody.
Right. It was
I'm
used
not a
as a
threat.
compliment until it wasn't.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And that's the way it always turns out. Like,
Yep.
we love you. Oh, look at your pretty skin. Oh, look at your hair. Come
Mhm.
on in. Come on in. And then it's like, wait, what? Too much eyes on her. Wait. Like, and so it's a bad thing. So we are here today for those high striving. I know we've used the word achiever before,
Mhm.
right? The high achieving, but those high accomplishing, those sisters who just got it together, or at least have a plan. They got a
Mhm.
strong. You may not be all the way together, but you got a strong plan and you've got a strong vision on where you want to go. So we've already set the stage. We know that Dr. V, she's one of us, you guys. She's one of us. She's one of those high achievers, and she's confident about what it is that she's doing. And in spite of everything that she's been through in her life, she still remains constant in showing up and being able to pour in and help other people. So Dr. V, let us know, like, speak to the women in particular, even though we say that this is the Black girl encourage her and it's encouragement for everyone, but I want you just to take a moment to speak to those women out there who are, either they're building their career, they're rising in the corporate up the corporate ladder, they're building their businesses, but they still feel, and as you had put it, they're a public success,
Mhm.
but in the background there's something going on. They're not feeling worthy. Talk to them, encourage her, will you?
Yeah, I was thinking where to start, and the first thing that literally popped into my mind is healing. I don't think a lot of us take the time to heal.
Mhm.
There's a lot of, especially in academia, and I'm saying academia because a lot of us have gone through high school and we were in those classes on those tracks. A lot of us went to college and we had our fun, but we were in like certain classes on a certain track, and then going to grad school, whether that was a master's, specialist, doctorate, but really like grad school. And I don't think we realize the academic trauma that is in our bodies from always having to be on
Mhm.
and always having to be better than the best. That kind of pressure that's put on a Black female or a female that's not traditionally white, or in some cases, some white females, depending on, where you are. So that's one thing we don't realize, that part. And I'm saying that is because I've experienced that. I've talked to other women when I coach them to get to the root of their problems, and it's always about something about the performer. And it's like, well, where did you start performing in school?
Mm.
The other
Mhm.
part of the trauma to heal, and like I said, it's not always a bad thing. It's not like trauma is not always, well, somebody, a teacher cursed you out or you failed the
Right.
class. It's not always that. It's the subtle thing. Sometimes it's like, just let it be that, so I'll know what it is. But
Right.
sometimes it's those subconscious nicks. The other part is professional trauma. Again, we carry that over from academia, and we go into the workplace, and we haven't taken the time to fill out who we are after we've gone through undergrad and grad school, and let those accomplishments sink in, and anything that we had going on, we haven't taken the time to uh just woosah. We
Yeah.
always go to the next. Then in the professional space, you turn it back up. It's like, well, I'm used to these battle scars. Let me gird up. you know,
Mm-hmm.
you come in fully armored, fully loaded,
Yes. Yes. So
and
if
like,
somebody get an elbow, you like, oh,
hey,
my bad, my bad, my
right?
bad. It's
We
a
come
trigger. It's a
in with
trigger.
exactly, and we come in what you're not gonna do, and we
Yeah.
may not say it, but that's how we show up.
Yes.
But for a lot of us, we don't take the time to take that off or to deal with that
Mm-hmm.
because it's always seen. I got to send an email. Let me read this 15 times
Yes.
before I send it out. Or the coworker got a problem. Well, let me go in my prayer closet real quick so they don't think that I'm gonna have an
Yes.
attitude. So a
Yes.
lot of that. Then it's like when we get to a level and we want to do something that's outside of the norm, we're stuck because it's a personal glass ceiling because we haven't taken the time to heal all of those different levels. So that was my I would say that's the one thing I would say looking back is to heal.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't take time to heal during the grieving process. And that's with my family members. I didn't take the time to grieve during the loss of a job.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't just a job, it was a career.
Yes.
I didn't take the time to grieve the fact that I'm it was almost mourning like Dr. Glenn White because that
Mm-hmm.
had become an identity for almost 5 years. So when they call it the separation, I'm like, y'all say y'all fired me, say it what it was. Um, Not understanding that I had to grieve who she was.
Yes.
So, and to heal and to, all of the things that we just shake off, no, because they're building up in our subconscious and it's gonna blow up. So, heal.
I love that. That was just so powerful to me, right? I'm just talking about what I gained from it. And it starts somewhere, right?
Mhm.
It doesn't just start here you are, professional on the job, and now someone says something to you, and now you're all triggered by it. It
Mhm.
doesn't start there, but it does come from the non healing. So the moving on, you finish with one relationship, you get a divorce, and you're on into the next relationship without giving yourself
Mhm.
time to heal. Same with the job. You get fired, you get let go, you laid off from one job, and then what are you doing? Job search, job search, job search. Like you're finding, and you just jump right in.
Mhm.
Like one of the questions on their application should be, are you healed? Because we don't need unhealed people coming in here,
Mhm.
getting everybody else sick and everything.
Mhm.
So it does start somewhere. And it literally took my mind back to grade school. When you mentioned that, it took me back to grade school and just like I said, there's no real trauma. Like I didn't get punched in the eye or anything
Right.
like that. But there were some things that may have occurred that you take on into middle school, and
Mhm.
then you take that on into high school, and you take it on. And I actually, I could flash back real quick, and I can see
Yeah.
instances that happened in high school, behaviors that started to
Mhm.
manifest in me, that it prevents me from doing the things that I know that I'm called to do
Oh yeah.
today. Right. So this is why she my business bestie, you guys, because I'm getting revelation. I'm thinking of some things. I'm like, you need to touch into that, Sheniqua, and
Mhm.
really start to heal. I really, really do. I love that. And I hope that you all have gained something from that. So, Dr. V, like I know you do a lot of great work with all your clients and things of that nature, but tell us how do you help your clients with that healing process?
The first thing I do is I myself stay in some form of personal development and in my Bible.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
um,
indeed.
because I don't, I knew, I mean, I didn't, and people, I didn't choose to be a coach. My title I have is the Brilliant Solutionist, but at underneath that is a coach and educator. I never wanted to be like the wounded healer. When I taught mathematics, I made sure I knew my math because I didn't want to be in there with the kids talking about now what now. So, and there are some people that
Carry the
do that,
one. I don't know.
right? There are some people that do that. So
Yeah.
in this personal development industry, I made sure I did the work myself. So just like I took math classes before I taught, I've been in the personal development work, understanding what's in my subconscious, what I haven't healed. And that's why I can speak to that, because I've gone through it. And then that's why I'm able to pick up on that from my other clients. So that's number one. And then I listen, ask questions. I don't go in assuming that I'm not here to like to diagnose people or to tell people that they need fixing.
Yeah.
So it's really listening. I think my experience as being a teacher for all of those years is listen first and get behind the words,
Mm.
what they're saying. And then because of my credentials, and at first I was like, oh, I don't want to intimidate anybody, but I think they understand, oh, she knows, and
Mm-hmm.
she'll be able to call me out, because she's not just she knows.
Exactly.
So tell me what the question was again, because I want to make sure
You don't want to go too far off a
I don't
tangent.
want to go
It
too.
is about healing. It's about how
Okay.
you help your clients to heal.
All right, I was making sure. Yes. So I do my work, I ask them questions, and then I'm able to call them out when I know they're not telling me the truth. And the
Mm-hmm.
reason why I do that is because we're not here to play games. Like you know, we know how to perform.
Yes.
We know how to perform. We know how to do it really good. And we can make some excuses like real sexy, but it's like if you really want to go to the level that you say you want to go, we have to go down before we can go
Mm-hmm.
up. And I have to work on them trusting me that if I take you down, I can also bring you back up.
Yes. I love that. I love that. Now, one thing that just keeps popping out at me, and I don't want to ignore the spirit when it's saying something to me. Can you speak to these high achieving, these highly successful people about the pressure to perform? Like, what kind of encouragement would you give someone who felt like they were just kind of boxed in? They just weren't getting to where it is that they know that they can be in life.
Embrace your performance and know that that's a part of you.
Mm.
You're just going to be center stage and be okay with that. And center stage, however that fits in your life. And the reason why I say that, and one part of the reason why I call myself the brilliant solution is I attract people who are out there, bright beams of light in their personality. They're big personalities, but they're afraid to remain big personalities because of what people have said or things that they've experienced.
Mhm.
So the sooner you own that's who you are,
Yeah.
then you just own that. You're gonna be center stage. God made you that way. And I take this from RuPaul. What other people think about you is none of your business. Of
It
course,
surely
easier
isn't.
said than done. But
Yeah.
the sooner we get that, and it's like, well, it's just me. I just got this kind of vibe.
Hmm.
And when you stop trying to cover the light, and because that's
Yeah.
why I call it a personal glass ceiling, because sometimes we
Dim
like
it.
to say, oh, it's the people, it's the man, it's the woman, they are haters. Not
Yeah.
all the time.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
So when you can embrace and own your own light, that's where the work begins. You have to own who you are. If you are this big personality, if you talk a certain way, if you dress a certain way. I remember when I used to go to work at the university, and my sister had to bring this up. I can dress. I should have been one of the people on YouTube, been an influencer way back in the day before it started. And I was always edgy. Like even when I taught sixth grade, I wore 3 and 4 inch heels.
Mm.
Oh, I did. I was always that chick. But then when
Okay.
I got to the university, and I can look at pictures now, year by year, it would go down until the last year when I was like, man, forget y'all. But but it was
I'm
like
just gonna be.
Right, but it's like I worked so hard just beating down my own light. So when they added
Yeah,
their stuff, it was just no wonder I collapsed because I didn't have
yeah,
my structure to be like, I don't care what y'all put on top of me, you know?
yeah.
So that would be the first thing I would say. You have to own it. And it's a big one. That's why I stayed there so long. Because
Mm-hmm.
once you do that, then we can do the other work because then that goes into the worthiness is another thing. It's like the
Yes,
reason why a lot of us don't push where we are and why we stay right here is because, oh, well, if I wanted to do that over there, all that head noise back there, you don't think you're worthy enough to go there. You think you're only worthy enough to get here because, I mean, it
to
looks
right there.
great,
Yeah, yeah,
but, so those go together and then owning your light and understanding that you're worthy, those are that's look, you can take 2 years to
yeah.
work on that. So I would encourage, anyone listening, especially my high achievers, is to own your spotlight and then work on your worthiness. Well, understanding that you're worthy because no one can take away your worthiness is you just have to realize that you're worthy and
That's
believe it.
right. I love it. And actually, worthy was another word that I heard in my spirit about, the worthiness.
Mhm.
And we high achievers. We like the accolades. We love the applause. Like we get all of the degrees and all of this high standard because we think that that's going to equate to I am worthy. But what people need to understand, you were worthy before you even achieve that. Like,
Exactly.
but it's a mindset shift
It is.
to know that I'm worthy and I'm worthy to receive or to achieve it. But that worthiness is what should start. It should start with you understanding that you are worthy. So
Mhm.
I love that. I love the work that you're doing, helping us. And I say us because I consider myself a high achieving
Mhm.
woman. I've got many accolades. I've climbed the corporate ladder
Mhm.
and I've gotten myself to a place where I've gone as far as my profession
Mhm.
my profession will take me, or as far as I'm willing to go within my profession. That's one of the beautiful things about dipping into entrepreneurship,
Mhm.
where it allows you to extend. So, that glass ceiling, it allows you to say, now we're just going to open it up a little bit. So I get to take what it is that I do. And you've been very influential in helping with that and being able to help to guide me and show me how I can step outside of the box and be able to just live in my boldness, because I am that chick that will show up in red shoes. I was just at a speaking event and I showed up in red shoes, and the photographer was like, "Oh, you got you handling these red shoes?" I said, "Trust me, I know exactly what I'm
I got
doing
this.
when I put the red shoes on." But what they do is like a symbol to ignite something inside
Mhm.
of me. It reminds me of who I am. Now, with or without the shoes, I'm fire. But when I put them on, it's like, nah, you can't slip, you can't slack off with this. You got to bring it and bring it
Exactly.
confidently. So I'm excited about the work that you're doing. With us high achieving women and helping us to heal and helping us to grow and helping us to understand that we are worthy.
Mhm.
So, before I let you go, Dr. V, I need you to tell us, what do you have going on? Like, how can people um, sit under your tutelage? Like, how can us high achieving women get our lives together? What can they do?
Well, before I say that, I'm glad you said that you're talking about the part of your profession has taken, well, where you're, as far as you're willing to go.
Hmm.
And when I started talking about the like, my tagline or slogan, whatever you want to call it, is embrace your brilliance and expand your life. And that was a perfect example of when you know who you are and own who you are, you embrace all of who you are outside of your positions, titles, and degrees, then things start opening up to expand different possibilities. So that was a perfect example. And I
Love
wanted
it.
to say that is what embrace your brilliance, expand your life is. Right now, I always have private coaching slots open, one-on-one coaching slots. But my big thing right now that I'm doing is I'm opening up a membership.
Mm,
And my membership is called Power Up Your Possibilities. and it's under my School of Brilliance. And that was another thing that God was just during this whole, I guess, 2.5 years of sitting and trying to figure out different things is don't walk away from what I've created you to be. I do believe I have a gift of teaching, and all of those experiences that I've had, it was a reason why it was the education route. And it was like, why don't you just have your own school? And
There you
so I
go.
have the School of Brilliance, and I put the Power Up Your Possibilities membership within there. Now, some people might be asking why a membership versus like a course. I do have courses, but this going with school, a lot of us were our most successful when we were in incubators, especially
Mm.
at the collegiate level. Not saying that what you take out, like, well, I ain't learned that from school. That bothers me because yes, you did.
Yeah, you learned something.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, you did. But think about it, especially college. You were in this environment. You were away from everyone. I mean, regardless, like my school was, well, I don't know, 50,000 kids, but it was still like a little small, space in the world. You had all the resources right there where you needed. You had like-minded people, whether they goofed off or not. But for the most
true.
part, they were like-minded people. You had checklists along the way because you had to get your courses together and assignments in your
Hmm.
classes. Then you had coaches, which were your professors, always on you and telling you the direction that you needed to go. And you stayed in that incubator for about at least 4 years,
Hmm.
and then even if you go to grad school, it's the same thing. But when we get into our professional spaces, what is what? And I think that's why and this, Jesus gave me this. I think that's why the coaching industry exploded the way it was,
Hmm.
because people were looking for incubators and they didn't realize that they were missing school. So I
Yeah,
said all that says that is why I went from just trying to do these 6-week programs, 8-week programs. you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
it was like, because like when you finish something, then what's next? You didn't do that in school. You finished the class, but you were still in that hub and you had time
yeah.
to, let the knowledge move and breathe and ebb and flow. So I wanted to bring that to my membership. So it's called
Nice.
Power Up Your Possibilities membership. There is a curriculum there because that's what I do.
That's the structure we
That's
know.
that's the
Absolutely.
structure, but within there is still time for you to apply that structure, whether it's personal development is always gonna be at the core. That's what I learned. It is always gonna be there, but then you have the opportunity to explore if it's a professional side, because I have that experience, and then the business side, I looked around, and I was like, "Wait a minute, I think I know some things," in this entrepreneurial space to get people started. And then I like to say dual preneur or parallel preneur, because I don't believe everyone needs to go into entrepreneurship full time, but I do think you need to put a toe.
Have a little something.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So in the membership, we do like I said, there will be coaching. I will have guest master teachers like my BB. She doesn't know it yet, but she's on there because
Stay ready. Stay ready for these
right. It's
things.
like
Yes.
I know a lot, but I've
Yes.
learned in a humble way to stay in my zone of genius.
Yes.
Just stay in my zone of genius. And I just want to create a space for women who not only just wanted to take their capes off. I don't know if a lot of you have heard that term, like where gladiators come. One of our coaches say that to take their capes off. I want you to
Yep.
take your cape off, but then I want you to be powered up to soar and break your own glass ceiling and go to the next level as well.
I love it. I love it. I love it. This has been a phenomenal conversation, and it's much needed because I think it's very very lonely at the top. They always say that, and it does appear to be
It
lonely
appears to be.
because we're not connected to the right people. So I'm
Mhm.
hoping that the viewers will take advantage of the membership. I'm definitely gonna be there because I be trying to glean whatever I can that's gonna help me to grow and to stay encouraged and empowered. So this has really been a good conversation. And before I let you go, I want to let everybody know that you need to stay in contact with this sister right here. She's all over social media. And one of the things that I'm most proud about with her on her journey as she's vlogging and doing all this exciting stuff, she's actually going for the New York Times best sellers list. Okay,
Whew.
so And then you got to hear all about it. She's all over social media talking about it. I'm telling you, it's good stuff. They do not want to miss it.
Oh
But
goodness.
how are you feeling throughout this process? What's going on in your heart and in your minds?
I've learned to have fun with the process, and knowing that it was a divine download from God. So I don't have to be so attached to it if the progress isn't going as fast as I would like. But I'm
Mhm.
learning to have fun with it. I've already written 2 books with the help of you, so I was already starting to prepare for this. But unlike those 2 books where I was like, it's my life work. Oh my gosh. This is
Yeah. Yep.
this is a little different now because I know what it feels like to be so attached to my work, but then at the same time, it's like this is for the people.
Yeah.
So I am having fun. Although you may see some videos where I have cried or shared a tear because the rejections do get real,
Yeah.
but I'm learning to have fun, and then I had to heal and realize that people do want to support me. That's part of
Mhm.
that healing for me to even put that out there. This has been on my list for years.
Yeah.
And Sheniqua would be like, you could have did this with the second book, but I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I had to work on some things, and that's why I put out healing and understand that you're worthy. And so I wanted to bring people along because I'm doing that for myself because my negative self talk or little
Mhm.
me tells me nobody cares about what you're doing. You don't have a huge following. No one wants to support you. You're always going to be alone. People are intimidated
Mm.
by you. That is not true.
It's not.
That
It's
is so
not.
not true. So that I'm doing this for me. That's part of that self work,
Yes.
to put it out there. So it's not a bragging thing. But then at the other side of it, yes, it is because I'm
Yeah.
learning. Yes, it is.
That's right. Because you all that and a bag of chips. Yep. With a
So
soda on the side. Let's go. Yes,
yes.
absolutely.
So yeah, come watch me on social media, my YouTube channel, my Instagram, where I put the reels and the shorts, and follow along the journey.
Yes, it's
You heard it
exciting.
first. Like mark the calendar.
Listen. I'm trying to forewarn them. That's what
Mhm.
I'm doing. Like because once you hit the list, I mean, come on, you're gonna have the right. You're gonna be very selective once you hit the list. So
Y'all
it's
better
like
get in this membership
everybody
now.
needs to get in. Yes, yes, yes. I'm telling you. And you know what? And rightfully so. Rightfully so. And this is part of us owning our genius, owning our brilliance to be able to say that I can grow. And as you grow and you achieve things like if you go to school, go to college and you get your bachelor's degree, you expect the people to pay you at the bachelor's degree rate.
Good
Right?
point.
When you go to school and you get your master's degree, you're not going to accept the $15 an hour minimum wage, right? You're going to expect the people to pay you for your skill set, for the knowledge, for the years that you've put into the studying this craft. So as you go up, you get a doctorate, you get higher learning. It's all the same. And these achievements that we succeed at, these achievements that we gain as these high achieving, successful women, we have to know how to up that worth, right? We got to
That is true.
up it up. So
Yep.
you all definitely need to stay connected to Dr. Vernita. She is a blessing in my life, and I know she will
Oh.
be a blessing in yours. So, Dr. V, any last words for the people?
You brought up a great point. Celebrate yourself. So while you're healing, also celebrate yourself. Just like Sheniqua said, we pile up the accomplishments, but we were like, but no, no, no.
On to the next one. On to the
Exactly.
next one. Nope. Stop.
Stop.
Celebrate the moment. I love
Yes.
it.
And that's what I would end with. Celebrate yourself because then you're not gonna then you wonder why you're feeling unworthy when someone else gives you a compliment because you haven't filled up your own cup of celebration.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Dr. Vernita Glenn White, for joining us
You're
on
welcome.
today. Yes, this is the Black Girl Encourage Her, a platform where we are bringing forth that encouragement for everyone but it just so happens to be from a Black girl's perspective. So thank you all for tuning in. I hope that you are enjoying this series and that you will join us back again on the next one. So until then, you all stay encouraged. God bless.
Bye.